exaggerated at first. Anytime I step, I'm really going to bend my knee and let my body fall to the floor. Yeah. That's it. And for me doing that, just from kind of exaggerating that fall to the floor, when I come up, I start to tap my foot in between. And remember it's the same foot. When you step, you'll tap. So your weight's staying on that foot for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of think of it as the little taps on the ends. You know, I can kind of think 1 and 2 and. So the number in the end will happen on the same foot. One end will be on the same foot.
It's some coordination, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, Adrian. You're doing a lot of stuff at one time, and you know that's what happens when you're playing music or anything kind of physical. You're doing a lot of different things at one time. So when you're practicing or learning, it's okay to just work on one or a few of those things at a time. So that's why we'll kind of go back and just practice the basic steps and the weight transfer. Yeah, there you go. And so let's make the circle big again. And what I want to try to do is maybe we'll take 4 steps in and then 4 steps back out, something like 2 and 3 and 4. Back in.
Going backwards, you want to put your foot, the toe first.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. My suggestion is anytime you take a step, go ahead and put your whole foot flat on the floor, and that'll also help you transfer your weight, and it'll support you.
Yeah.
So go ahead and start flat,
Okay.
and then you'll tap that same foot. Step, tap. Step, tap, that's what you got to keep reminding yourself. And it's the same foot. Step on the foot and then tap that same foot.
Okay.
So let's try 4. Ready? Go. Yeah, you might just feel a little weird going backwards.
Yeah, you want to put your toe.
I need that walking stick to make sure you don't fall over.
All right, so that rhythm is kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right. So there's one more sound. If you're already getting this part, the step tap, I'm going to add another sound. But if the other sound is too hard to fit in there, just keep working on the step tap. Okay, so the step tap is 1 and 2. So what I want to do is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that sound is going to happen with the foot that doesn't have weight on it. And
You saw it on that spider?
yeah, I'm
Oh,
he's nice.
Now we're going to tarantella.
We're gonna let them go eat a mosquito or something. Eat a smaller bug. Okay, so with my step tap, my weight's transferred all the way on one side. So this foot here, the other foot's still up. See that one? So the third sound is going to come from when I'm going to switch and do it on the other side. I'm just going to let it fall, and I'm going to kind of tap the floor And this is where you're gonna have to like, you know, you're gonna have to like really use your ankle on this one. The other side, you know, the first thing we did, it's really just gonna feel like taking a step and then tapping your foot like you do when you play. All right. On this one, it's kind of like tapping your foot with no weight on it. So go ahead and if you can stand on one foot, just take the other one and try to tap it without the heel touching. You really use the hinge of your ankle. And you might you'll start to let it fall.
Wait, are you touching your heel first or your toe?
No, I'm just touching the toe. So that's a little bit of a weird feeling, isn't it? Tapping the toe of your foot without having the heel on the floor. And but that's that third sound. And then to start again, you're just gonna step on that same foot. And then next will come the tap. All right. So just try one foot in the air there, and now try to tap your toe without your heel touching, and then you'll just step on that foot. When you step on the foot, transfer your weight. So then the other foot will be up in the air, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. I'll just try to tap my toe without the heel on the floor, and then step, and then tap. So that's my three sounds. They sound like this rhythm. 1 and a 2. So that's 1 and
Let's do it.
yeah, a little slower.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so again, we'll break it down. It's 1 and so I'll break the numbers down. 1 is the step where you put the full foot down, transfer your weight, bend your knee, and will be to tap that same foot. All right, the will be tapping the other foot without the heel, and then we start again by that's 1 again, and so. That's kind of tricky, you know, doing one side and then you do the other side. So let's try just one side at a time. Let's try this much. Let's go 1 and so we're not transferring any weight. This will all be on one side. Doesn't matter which. We can do your right side or your left side. Are some people right-footed? Some people left-footed?
What do you kick a ball with? Your right or your left?
Because I find that's a thing, you know. Like usually, if you're right-handed, you're right-footed. I feel very much right-footed. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to kick a soccer ball, what foot would you use?
Oh.
You're right. Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah,
That'd be
okay.
kind of, yeah.
Okay, so let's try one side. And so when you step, you're going to step on the whole foot and really put your weight on it and bend your knee and go kind of down. And then you're going to tap that same foot. And then we're just going to brush the other toe and then set it down. Actually, let's not worry about the weight transfer. Let's just go 1 and all right, let's do that much. Let's do it all together. So ready to step on one foot, ready, go. 1 and yeah, a little bit slower. Ready, go. 1 and yeah. There's a little bit of a catch-22 with this stuff. Is you got to kind of slow it down to learn it. But the slower you go, the harder it is for you to balance.
Yeah.
So may I ask, when the people do they have like metal on their toes or something?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I just have these leather-soled shoes,
Yeah.
and these I've had for many years. I've worn through the original sole like twice,
Oh my gosh.
and I have, instead of having it resoled, I actually have a piece added, and it makes it nice and thick
Yeah.
and a little bit heavier on the toe, which helps me with those little shuffles and taps and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can take an old pair of just leather-soled shoes and and add a whole nother piece on there. You know, shoemakers love to do that because it's pretty easy. It's a lot easier than replacing a whole sole.
Yeah.
And then there's two kinds of taps. Some people will just use like standard taps for tap dancing, which is a one-piece tap.
Yeah.
And then some of the more what we call like cloggers, clogging veteran exhibition groups and stuff, they'll use a two-piece tap, which is a piece of metal and then another piece of metal that's hooked to it loosely, so it's metal on metal. When they,
So it clicks again.
yeah. Well, it doesn't click again, but it's just a really defined.
I see.
Metal sound.
It's a really defined sound, but
It's
there's
like
also a little
stepping
jingle
on a
in
rock.
between
Yeah.
when you're not.
I think I have an extra one from arthritis in it.
Yeah. All right, so let's try.
Thank you for letting me know, I was wondering.
Let's go back to just the step tap, just so we can practice transferring the weight. This side, this side. And I remember you're tapping the same foot that you're stepping on. You got to kind of make a point to hold the other foot up.
And not fall over.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, that's it.
I think if you put your feet further apart, maybe you wouldn't feel like you're falling over.
No, because I have to balance on the one foot.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be correct if I had both feet.
All right, I went ahead and added that other sound.
just when you're tapping it, that's
So I'll tell you what'll help with that other sound. If you kind of, when you step on that foot, one you're going to tap, and you're transferring your weight, bending your knee, if the other one comes a little bit forward, as it falls back, you can kind of,
oh, yeah.
we started out, it was kind of more, we were just holding it up and tapping,
Yeah.
and really using our ankle, the hinge of our ankle. But if you kind of, when you put your weight on the one foot, try to make sure the other one is out front a little bit. And then as it comes back, you can just kind of let it brush the floor. And I am using a little bit of the ankle hinge, and then step on that one. And as soon as I step on that one, I transfer the weight, bend my knee, tap it, so I'm doing it on the other side. So let's go back to the step tap, and then when you step, just try to make sure the other foot is out front a little bit, like this. Let's go step, step, tap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. I'm hearing a little bit of rhythm here.
Wow. That's interesting. Oh my
I
gosh.
think it's strange to have one foot in the air and you're going on one heel and
I
tapping.
think the thought is once you're flat, is to get that toe up.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I have
Yeah,
to
get my toe up.
I find it hard if I don't look.
Uh-huh.
you know
Oh,
what,
that's a good
that's
idea.
Here and
Good
don't
idea.
look there.
No, just look, just.
Oh, I see, okay, I'll try that.
So there is one more sound.
Oh.
And then, so you'll kind of be hitting, what do you call like it, 1 and a 2, and then we go 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a, right? So it's just something, that's how you kind of count, you count 8 notes that way when you're playing or whatever. And so that sound is when you transfer your weight. And I was saying to try to get your other foot out front a little bit.
Yeah.
if you scuff that foot, you just kind of scuff it, and you can scuff the whole bottom of your foot, or you can just try to catch the heel. The heel feels kind of nice because it doesn't drag so much. So let's just try stepping on one foot, and of course you're going to bend your knee and put your weight on that foot, and then when the other one comes forward, you'll kind of scuff the heel a little bit. So it's kind of a step and a scuff. Let's just try that on one side. So ready, step, scuff. Yeah, ready, go. Step. Yeah, that's good. And that's going to help you get your foot out front, because now you're swinging it out front instead of, it's not just an up and down motion. You're kind of moving your feet forwards and back a little bit while still kind of standing in place. So let's try that one a couple more times. Let's try either foot, a step, a scuff. I'm going to try the other one. Step, scuff. And I'll switch sides. Step, scuff. Ready, step. And so now that's what's going to fit between the step and the tap. So it's going to be a step, scuff, tap. All right?
And you tapping with your toe?
Yeah, tap it with your toe. And the scuff is going to be on the foot that doesn't have weight on it. That's the most important part of this thing, is really kind of remembering which foot has the weight on it. You know, the other one will kind of be working in the air until you transfer your weight to it, and then the other one will kind of be working in the air. So think of it like that. When you switch sides, you'll really, it's called a weight transfer. And the one thing that will help with weight transfer is just to be sure when you do it is to bend your knee, because that's what really puts all your weight on that one foot. You'll really feel it. So where were we? We're going to do a step, a scuff, and then a tap. All right, so remember the tap's on the same side as step. So ready, go. Step, scuff, tap. Yeah, that's one knee and. Ready, go. One knee and. Yeah, that's it. Let's try the same side a couple times. Ready, go. One knee and. Yeah, that's it. Ready, go. One knee and. All right, I'm gonna try the other foot. Ready, go. One knee and. All right, I'm gonna try that foot a couple times. Ready, go. One knee and. Yeah, step, scuff, tap. Ready, go. Step, scuff, tap. Yeah, that's it. And so there's only one more sound that we were doing there earlier. That's just the one knee and Then we got a step, a scuff, a tap, and then it's the other tap without any weight on it.
Scrape
We need to call that something. It needs its own name.
Well, we can call it a scrape because you're coming back,
Yeah,
right?
scrape. We'll call it a scrape.
Okay.
So we're going to step, scuff, tap, and then scrape it back.
Oh, okay.
So that's the whole step.
Okay.
All right, that's the whole thing. One knee and it's just 4 sounds. So one more time. I'm going to step, scuff, tap, and scuff. And now when I step on that one, you're really going to want to, you're kind of losing your balance by that point.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to step and fall on that other foot. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. But when that happens, that's when you're starting again. That's your step. You'll scuff the other side, tap, scrape it back, switch again. So if you do it all at the same time, I'll see if I can do it at a pretty slow speed. That speed there is kind of comfortable with my balance. If I go any slower, I feel like I'm really dealing with balance. So that's the catch-22. You just got to kind of deal with it.
Until we have the motion.
Yeah, you got to slow it down to learn it. But when you slow it down, your balance is going to be terrible. That's just something you got to deal with. And then what's kind of cool is once you have that's the full step, and you're making all 4 sounds. Then you can kind of, at first, you can create rhythms really by taking things out. And so the way we built this up, we just kind of started with the steps, then we added the taps, and then we added the scuffs, and then the scrapes. So the first thing you'll kind of take out are the scuffs and the scrapes. So if I'm going along, so I was making rhythms by taking the scuff out. So I was only doing the scuff on one side, so it gives me a different rhythm of 1 E and a 1, 1 E and a 2, and 3 E and a 4, and. So kind of making rhythm by taking sounds out. So let's try, you want to try the whole thing all together? Kind of nice and slow. So what was it? It was a step, scuff, tap, and a scrape. Alright? Let's get ready, go. Scuff, tap, scrape, step, tap, finish.
That's too fast.
Yeah, but I don't want to be able to just on the heel.
Yeah.
Who thought of this?
People drinking whiskey late at night.
I think it probably came, this step in particular is for really great for square dancing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I think, probably people were just walking, they're stepping on the beat. And once you get really good at that, I think they probably got bored and started adding sounds.
Oh.
Basically jazz walking.
Jazz walking, yeah, jazz walking.
Oh, that's good.
And so we're kind of, it's nice at first to kind of keep it mellow. And then this tap, I'm just leaving my heel on the floor. And that'll kind of lend itself to moving a little bit. You'll kind of want to move a little bit when you walk. It's called a walking step. And so this is a little tricky, and it takes a lot more energy. So I'm just trying to do it with my heel on the floor and doing that little tap without moving. But what I see a lot of folks do, if they want to make the step a little bit bigger and they want to dance in place, so that's the thing. It's kind of like the moonwalk. You're doing a walking step, but you're staying in one place. And so what you can actually do is, instead of just tapping that foot, you can actually slide it back.
Jump, turn, jump.
Yeah. That takes a ton more energy, because I'm actually coming up off the floor instead of just step. I'm actually step, and I'll move my foot backwards when I do that. Yeah, and so that's another way to do the basics, to do a basic step. I see people just getting up, at the fiddlers conventions and dancing to the music. And so one of the very basic things I'll see people do is they'll just step on a foot and slide it backwards. And so let's try that. So when you step on a foot, slide it back. And so this is instead of the tap, instead of step, tap, step, tap, we're just doing step, slide. All right? And so that's going to take less of the ankle action and less of the hinge of your ankle. So this one's not too hard to do. So let's just try that. It's going to be a step, slide, and then of course you'll want to step on the other side and then slide that side to every other side. So let's try. Ready, go. Step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step.
Use your arms to help.
Try a little quicker. Step, slide, step, slide. So,
Better than sitting down.
see what I mean? It takes a lot more energy to do
Yeah,
do it like that.
Yeah.
But that's the variation on the exact same step. So instead of just doing a tap, you're doing a slide. So you can actually fit all of those other sounds in. I guess it would be step, scuff, slide, and then what'd you call it?
Scrape.
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 So and that would kind of like this. So let's see.
Is it easier, faster, Danny?
Yeah, it's a little easier, faster, because you don't have to.
The balance.
In some ways, you know, you have to
Yeah,
slow it down to
balance.
learn it, but it's that makes it harder on your balance. Yeah.
Could I,
Easier
I
on
know
the-
Pete's
the-
waiting
the-
for
the-
me. Can I get you to do it full speed before I
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. And my little baby loves children, my little baby loves children. My little baby loves children, my little baby loves children.
Thank you, Danny. Fascinating.
How long did it take you to learn to do it so you felt like it was very natural?
You know, I don't remember. I started doing it when I was a little
Oh,
kid.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just you know, maybe mimicking other people and dancing to the music. I was in a little clogging group when I was a kid, the Massanutten Mountain Cloggers, which is the Massanutten Mountain. It goes right down the middle of the Shenandoah Valley, and I grew up right at the foot of Massanutten Mountain, and so me and my brothers, we were like in the kids group, and my mom was in the adult group, and my dad played in the band. You know, they always had live fiddle music.
So this is your culture.
Yeah.
It's also less gravity when you're a child.
dancing.
What's the difference between flat footing and clogging?
Well, that's a pretty fun question.
Are you guys off?
And I actually recommend a documentary. If you haven't seen it, Mike Seeger was involved in making this documentary, but it's called Talking Feet. And so what they do is they go around and they ask all these people, what's the difference between flat footing and clogging? And as the documentary goes on, you're like, I think everybody kind of has their own take on that. But it was the perfect conversation starter. And some people were more wishy-washy like me, you know, because it's kind of the same family. But other people, they would break it down into detail and say, no, this is flat footing and this is clogging. So what I just showed you is considered more of a flat footing step because you're very much flat on your feet, and when you make that original step, you're stepping on your whole foot, and then we're not doing a lot of heel-toe separation. You know, they're kind of more scuffs forward and scuffs backwards. Flat footing, the basics of flat footing has a little bit less heel-toe separation, I think, maybe.
It's called Talking Feet.
Yeah, Talking Feet, that's the name of the documentary. It's really, it's a really awesome, a good, you know, there's going to be a good variety of dancing. And they even go into some of the sort of, so another term is buck dancing. You've heard that term, but so that's another one they throw in there. Oh, what's the difference between buck dancing and flat footing and clogging? You know, and some people can tell you a difference, and then some people, well, it's sort of, you know, a lot of, like a dancer would do all three of them at the same time and kind of mix and match. So it's really, it's all one dance.
And maybe it depends on where people are from.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
regional thing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, so they might,
I don't know.
yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you, Danny, very much.
All right, Dawn. So the one I just showed you, that's considered more of a flat foot step. So I wanted to show you what's more of a a clogging basic. And so for this one, you're really, again, we're really working on the weight transfer, and you're still gonna, when you take a step, you're really gonna bend your knee. But on this one, what we can do is we can start with one foot flat, and then the other foot, let's just go up on the ball of your foot. All right, so we already, you know,
It's balanced.
yeah, and so what you're gonna do is you're just gonna step on the flat foot, and then you'll push back up with the ball foot. And so it's kind of like step, ball, step. So let's work on that. So you can just start to get ready. You'll have one foot flat, one foot on the ball, and then we're gonna step on the flat one, step, ball, step. All right? So let's do that together a couple times. Ready, go. Step, ball, step. And so you can really see my body going down and up. I'm really going down on the step, and then on the ball, I'm really, I'm going back up. So let's try that with that in mind. Ready, go. Step, ball, step. Yeah, that's it. Let's do the same side a couple times. Ready?
This one is always staying on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, eventually we're going to switch sides and just do the opposite on the other side. But let's work on just one side. So one side flat, and one side on the ball. So ready, go. Step, ball, step. Step, ball, step. Oh, that makes my legs feel tired.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to. Okay, so go ahead and switch them around. Let's try the other side. All right, so I'm just have the other foot flat and the other one on the ball. So ready, go. Step, ball, step. Let's do that a couple more. Ready, go. Step, ball, step. One more time. Ready, go. Step, ball, step. Okay, so we practiced each side on its own, and now you're going to have to flip flop it. So your basic positioning you'll actually be like this, and then the next one you'll be like this. So if you want, just go ahead and get set up and just kind of switch the shape, and you'll really feel whichever foot's flat, the step. That's where your weight will be. You know, this one over here will just be barely touching. All right. So switch the weight. There you go. And switch again. And you can tell I'm actually leaning a little bit when I first start. Now, of course, when you get it going, you'll want to keep your body straight. But just to really get the weight transfer, I'm actually leaning a little bit. All right, the other way. Yeah, and the other way. Yeah, one more time. This way. Yeah, there you go. And so let's try alternating. We'll do a step, ball, step, and then the other side. Step, ball, step, 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 step. The way this one will count out to the music, it's just kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's do it again, but really concentrate on when you step. Go ahead and bend that knee and try to come down to the floor. We go step, and then now on the ball, we're going to push back up and then back down. So you're kind of down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So let's try that here with that's your main body movement. Ready, go. Down, up, down, down, up, down. Good. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And you'll see when I end, I have all my weight on one foot. So on the steps, you really want to transfer that weight, and then there's so much that you're really not even touching the other ones. Down, up, down. See that? Down, up, down. See, this one's sticking up. Down, down. So that's one of the most basic steps I see people doing. You have the music. Let's see. People do that all night long to the music. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so there's a big pause in there. And so what happens during that pause is it's called a shuffle, and so the shuffle's a little tricky. If you ever done tap dancing, you do a lot of shuffling and tap dancing. But all that's going to be is you're going to have all of your weight on one side, and then the other side that's up and loose, you're just kind of going to go out and back in. You'll make two sounds. So let's go ahead and try that. So all of your weight on one side, the other one kind of goes out, in. All right. Yeah. Let's try to do it like, let's go shuffle, step, shuffle, step. All right. Now when I step, I'm going to actually transfer my weight. Let's try that again. Shuffle, step. Let's actually do it so that when you step, the other foot comes up off the ground. So I have all the weight on one foot. So everybody have the weight on one foot. I'm just barely touching one side. Yeah. The side I'm barely touching, I'm going to shuffle. And when I step, the other foot's going to come up. And then that one, I can.
Oh, no, you're fine.
The other one, I can do the same thing. Shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle. Now I know some of you have seen, if not live on TV, you've seen John Hartford perform, and later in his career, he did a solo show, and he would either play the banjo or the fiddle, and he would dance at the same time. He actually had a dance board that he traveled with that had a 1/4-inch jack. You plug it right in. It was like an electric dance board. You plug it in. But that's the step that John Hartford did, and he did it a little bit up on the balls of his feet, and he would kind of kick out to the side just to give it a nice look. But that's all he was doing was a shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step. That's the John Hartford step right there. So pretty much the same thing we were doing, just kind of standing on the balls of your feet and then kicking out to the sides a little bit instead of straight forward and back. So that's
pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's another very basic.
You started doing this when you did the fiddling, right?
Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been doing some,
Dancing with it.
yeah, I learned some moves from Rebecca Stout and started doing, and I think what I've been doing is sort of that John Hartford step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool is, when you're doing that step, shuffle, shuffle, it has the same basic sound as the first step we did, where we're going 1 and a 2 and a 3. So that's what's kind of cool is you'll see the rhythms. There are these basic rhythms that you're doing that really fit to the music, but there's different ways of achieving those same rhythms.
Well, that's not the one I've been doing. That's one I've been trying to do, but it's been a learning curve. I learned it as recently as the Lone Ranger step.
Yeah.
Da-da-dun, 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 with the rock step down.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's too hard for me to play fiddle and do, so I've been going. And it's so cool because that little rock step fits right with the way the tunes are.
Yeah, and the rock step that he's saying, that's pretty much the ball and then the step.
It's gonna be an hour.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And so now what we have is like we have a shuffle step. You know, shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step. So let's try a shuffle step and then a ball step. Right? So we did that a little bit earlier. We did step, ball, step. Step, ball, step. Let's go back to that one. So that was kind of 1 foot flat and 1 foot on the ball, and then your weight's going to be on the flat. All right, we'll try step, ball, step. Switch sides. Step, ball, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, ball, step, shuffle. So see where the shuffle's going to fit in that space. And so now we can do, this is the most basic, sometimes people call it singles, because you're just doing one shuffle and then a step, ball, step. And then of course you can do 2 shuffles and then a ball step. And then the Lone Ranger step is actually a triple. You'll do 3 shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, ball, step. Right, so you can do singles, doubles, and triples. The single is one of the most basic clogging moves. So that's going to be, again, with the shuffle and then a step, ball, step. Now we can try the other side. Shuffle, step, ball, step. Shuffle, step, ball, step. Shuffle, step, ball, step. Shuffle. Ball, step. And so you still want to, the main thing is when you step, is make sure you're transferring all of your weight onto that foot and bending your knee and kind of coming down to the floor. Let's try that again. Everybody ready? Everybody got a foot ready to shuffle? Ready, go. Shuffle, step, ball, step. Yeah, another thing to kind of concentrate on, when you're doing the ball of your foot, it's barely, see how I still have, let's just try this with the weight thing, keeping the one flat, and we're really just standing on that one, and we're just relieving that weight very temporarily with the ball of our foot like this. See that? I still have all my weight on one side. Sometimes when you touch the ball of your foot, you'll try to transfer your weight, but now you really want to keep your weight on that one side. One thing I like about this type of dancing is, we're going through these very basic moves, but once you get a few of the basic moves, you can mix and match them. And actually, with just the basics, once you start mixing and matching, it can pretty quickly it can become more complex.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're skipping around a little bit, but that's what you're going to want to do in real life once you get going, is skip around between these steps. And remember, you can add these little scuffs and stuff like that, but then you can take them out again to make different kind of rhythms.
So if you're playing in a group, you all have to do the same thing then?
Well, a lot of groups, they get together and they'll actually choreograph what they're going to do.
Because you have all kinds of noises on the sound.
And you'll notice the way the groups do it is when they're doing like big figures, like with the group, like circly stuff, to where you're really seeing people's whole bodies, and they're really moving around, and they're trying to create shapes as a group. The steps will be simple. They'll just be doing the basic steps and all this stuff with their upper bodies. But then at some point in the performance, they'll just they'll come out and they'll stand in place, and then that's when they'll do the fancy footwork. Yeah. So yeah.
That's great.
And you know, some of the really cutting edge groups, you'll see them doing more fancy steps even when they're doing the group choreography. But that's kind of how it works. The more movement the group's doing, the simpler the steps, and then they'll break it down to, you know, you can tell where they're really focusing on the footwork, and they'll just kind of more stand in place. It's even pretty popular to see at the end of a performance for a group to do like kind of a soul train thing, where they'll line up on either side of the stage, and then one or two people will dance down the middle towards the audience, and that's when they really show off their footwork. So let's try that basic step again. That's one of the easiest ones, I think. It's just the shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step. That's it. And 1, 2, 3. That's the single. Shuffle, step, ball, step. Try double. Let's try shuffle, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, ball, step, ball, step. I like this one, the double, because it kind of feels like you keep doing the same side over and over. So let's try the double again. It's just going to be a shuffle, step, and then shuffle, step on the other side. And then ball, step. All right? Nice and slow. Shuffle, step, shuffle, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, ball, step, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, That's good. That one there, it has a little bit of a weird timing. It's I think it's more than 4 beats. It's like 6 beats. Have you ever done any swing dancing?
And it's off.
Yeah, swing dancing always screws me up because the music kind of goes in 8 beats, but the dance step only goes in 6s. But that's kind of cool, you know, with this percussive kind of dancing, because it'll put a rhythm in there that feels a little bit against the grain. But if you just keep going with it, it comes around again. But now, so let's try a triple, because a triple will be longer and it'll help you match the music. So it's going to be 3 shuffles and then a ball step like this. Shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, shuffle, step, ball, step. And that's the one that they also call the Lone Ranger. Yeah. You know where the Lone Ranger takes his trash, right?
To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump,
Oh
dump, to the dump.
Yeah. So you'll So you'll hear that rhythm with the triple. Shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step. And so now, you know, just with the combination of singles and doubles and triples, you can make a lot of different rhythms. It's just kind of you can think of the single, the shuffle step as your basic, and then You just put a false step whenever you feel like it. So that's like, what was that? That was like, yeah, what is that? Single, single, double, double, triple.
This gives you more appreciation of people when they dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe just get on a roll and not do any of the ball steps for a little while, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna jump on that table and clog.
Yeah.
That's what these people do. North Carolina's what these people do.
So one I really like, so let's try this one together. Let's try 2 singles and then a double. Or no, 2 singles and then a triple. It's got a really nice rhythm to it. It'll be like this. It'll be. Yeah. So shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step, ball step. So that's a really nice rhythm. Let's try that one. So ready, go. Shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step, ball step. Yeah, now we can do that whole thing on. Let's try it on the other side. Ready, go. Shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step, shuffle step, ball step. Yeah, that's good. That's a nice little rhythm there. A lot of this dancing, it comes from the British Isles, and particularly the Welsh dancers. They really had this sense of doing this. It's also where tap dancing comes from. It's just you know, the traditional dancing. It just, you know, it ended up in a more isolated place, and so people, and it wasn't as formally trained, you know, taught. Whereas tap dancing, it's the same thing. If you've ever done any tap dancing, it's all about having a basic step, and then you insert other steps into that basic step. And so, you know, anytime you're not doing something fancy, you're just doing the basic. So, let's try to think of a nicer. Do something like that. So that was a little, and you always start with a couple basics and then you'll put a step in there. That was just a step, and then a scuff, and then I did a heel. So let's try, so this is the fancy step. I don't know what you call it.
Kind of that little skit.
It's kind of the lift, yeah. So I'm gonna step on a foot, transfer the weight, and with the other one I'll scuff. And like we were doing a tap earlier with the toe, but let's try with the heel. Alright? So it's like a step, scuff, and a heel.
Heel on your first foot?
Yeah, on the one with the weight. You're gonna do the heel on the foot with the weight on it. So that's a little tricky. So you start down here,
Yeah.
and you really just have to.
Click.
Yeah, I think the heel, to me, the heel is a little bit easier than the toe.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right? So here's the toe.
Yeah.
The heel is,
Yeah.
to me, the heel feels a little bit, it's a little easier to balance when you're on the ball of your foot than when you rock up on the heel.
Yeah.
So let's try that step again. It's going to be a step, a scuff, and then a heel. Let's try, ready, go. Step, heel. Yeah, ready, go. Step, heel. Yeah, one more time, ready, go. Step, heel. Yeah. That's it. So if we do a couple basics first. Step, shuffle, step, scuff, heel. See that? So now I'm inserting something a little more fancy in it. That was shuffle, step, ball, step, shuffle, step, scuff, heel. Right. So that's a good way to end. It's a good way to end a little phrase, even if I gotta say for a while. Shuffle, step, shuffle, step.
Take it out
And
with
you
that.
do this nice little
Yeah.
forward thing too.
Yeah, actually it'll help with the heel instead of really lifting up off the floor, is if I just slide forward and I kind of naturally catch myself on the heel. And so that's a stuff heel. Yeah. So that's an example of just the way you can insert stuff into the, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just kind of inserted a little heel click in there.
Great.
That was pretty straightforward. It just takes a lot of energy to do that one. And so you'll see how, you know, you'll kind of keep a basic going.
Huh.
Yeah. So, let's see.
Oh my gosh.
So there's another one that's not too hard. So that's a third. That's a third really basic thing I see people doing, and it's they call them chugs. It's got kind of chugga, 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 and so you'll just start by doing it on both feet, and really all you're trying to do is you let your weight fall down, and then when you catch yourself, your heels will kind of, you'll sort of slide forward and you'll catch yourself. So you just kind of go for it. Try that sound a couple times. Just your feet will slide forward. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And then once you get the downward motion, the downward and the forward motion, you're just going to reverse it and back it up. So you'll actually slide back. So it's like a slide forward and a slide back. Just try that a few times. You're really going to use your knees for this one. You'll you really bend your knees to slide forward, and then you'll really straighten them out to slide back. You put it in a time, you know, it'll kind of be
The
like.
point is not to lift your feet off the ground, but just your heels, more or less.
You have to go all the way off the ground? No.
No, the balls of my feet are always touching,
Yeah.
and just the heels kind of come up. I'm not really even focused too much on bringing the heels up. That kind of happens naturally when you
I know how to go forward with that.
when you.
I mean, you just keep your feet down.
Yeah. And so what you can do with this one is you know, you'll start with just a basic forward and back. And that's still kind of a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
Oh, it works better with leather shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our sticky shoes, this one's a little tricky with
Sneakers are
sticky
not
shoes.
making much text.
These put the brakes on them.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you can do these very simple things to get a nice look out of this simple step. So I'm kind of starting with my feet parallel for the most part. So if I want to add a look to it, I can just kind of, when I slide forward, I can point my toes out. Right? And then maybe back in. So that's a fun one. You go out, in, out, in, out, in. So that's a pretty simple step, and it's pretty easy to get a nice look out of it just by changing the direction of your feet. Another thing you can do is, once you get it on both feet, you try it on just one foot, and so you can get kind of a cool look by actually both feet. And then one foot. So you can see how the combinations, they start to grow. You know, I have my basic, both feet forward and back, and then out, in, and then I could try just one foot, out, in, maybe the other foot. So it's kind of, it starts to grow pretty rapidly, what you can do. You know. Like that.
for the young.
Yeah.
It's good exercise.
Yeah, it is actually, right, it's good exercise.
That's crazy.
It's good contrast to sitting for hours.
Yeah.
I saw an older clogger using a chair to balance.
Yeah,
Still doing
yeah,
it,
I was gonna suggest that when
using a chair.
you're going slow and you're really practicing that weight transfer, you can actually hold on to a chair.
You know, I think that's
Yeah,
really a
it's
good
like-
idea for learning how to keep it, but learn balance, right?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to do it in roller skates. No, I'm totally serious because I just saw a video of Hillary Klug how to clog in roller skates.
no
She was
way.
holding on to the two chairs
Oh my.
and doing these steps in the roller
That's
skates.
great.
And I'm gonna get to take her workshop tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Topanga Canyon
Oh.
Banjo Fiddle Contest. That's why I have to leave here at 3
Oh.
to go down and be ready for that.
Got your roller skates?
No, not the roller skates, but I'm definitely gonna try to absorb some of that awesome energy and come up. Cause for the longest time, what Rebecca showed me was what I started doing was I got a dance board. And I was really trying to dance as much as fiddle and keep time and have something on. So I was like just tapping and then tapping and then tapping back and forth and then tapping together and then standing on one foot, just trying to shift my weight for a while. And then doing this, what she showed us was the zig,
Oh, no, that was it. He's got it.
which is like the twist,
Yeah.
and then the zag,
Yeah.
and then the zig is either
Yeah.
that or that.
You were just twisting on your heels like a little.
Yeah, so yeah, the zig and zag, you know, that's something that you'll add to the chug. So you know, we're kind of, my feet are still parallel to each other, but I'm kind of going to the middle. And then I can go both feet to the right, back to the middle, and to the left.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm still, you know, it's really the basic is just still kind of forward and back, forward and back. And then you'll just aim to the right, forward and back. In the middle, forward and back, and then over to the left. So those are kind of, you know, simple variations of a basic step. You know, I can go something like that. You know, that'll go that middle, right, middle, left, middle, and then out to the both sides. So those are little combinations you can just start to make up once you get the basics. The hardest part is getting the basics down. Now that's a good suggestion of using a chair, even if you know, if you've had kids that you have sometimes when kids do ballet, you'll set up a makeshift balance bar. I mean, use that. You know, it's the same thing. The clogging, ballet, same thing.
It's kind of slippery.
It's slippery on the floor, the tiles, you know.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We got a little exercise.
Yeah.
Well, I got it off for ass for a while, you know, because sitting in the classroom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's so great.